been shaving?
No, I got a few stitches on the other night, so a few staples, few stitches. So yeah, it looks like a bit like mayonnaise or something down the bottom of my chin, but it's not that actually. So a bit sore, but that's all right. It's all part of it.
What happened there?
I think it was in a tackle. I just got a shoulder and went straight up and just split the chin a little bit. So I mean, nothing too bad. Didn't really get proper head knock or anything. It just split the chin.
Have you reviewed the game and what was the findings from Friday?
Is this part of the? Is part of
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No. So I didn't even realise if we were probably on it or not.
Does that change how you answer it?
No, it doesn't. I just got to be more locked in, I think. Haven't completely reviewed the game yet. Yeah, we'll do that later on today. But I think we've had it sit with us the whole weekend. That's the nature of playing on a Friday night game. Is you sit there and you wait for the whole weekend to come in Monday and obviously sitting with the feeling of how disappointed we are with what we displayed and how we played and the result. I think at the end of the day.
Is it fair to say you're quite shell shocked in the rooms in the immediate aftermath of the game?
I don't know if shell shock's the way to put it. I think just disappointed and not necessarily completely about the result of the game. It's more so probably the display and the things we did and how we played to lead to that result. Early we were really poor with our contested footy and our contest around the footy. I think we were down in contested ball and ground ball gets and tackles and all the above. So we want to base our game on being hard at the footy and that contest side that brings that every week non-negotiably. And so I think when you don't bring that and you don't kind of bring the DNA of what you want to display, then you finish the game and you lose, and it's bitterly disappointing in what you produce.
So maybe the performance against the Blues was the outlier, because you kind of reverted back to some of the issues of the early week?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that's how you put it. I don't necessarily... I mean, yeah, if you go and win losses, I guess it is the outlier a little bit, and that's again disappointing. I think what we showed against the Blues is, a bit more of how we want to play. Like, I think we moved the ball really well. We were really strong around the contest. We weren't reactive. And we played that. That's probably the best. It was obviously our best game we played all year. I think there's been glimpses at times with, against Geelong, we had moments. Against Melbourne, they're a quality side, and we only just lost to them. And I think at times during the year we've showed bits of how we want to play. But the disappointing thing about Friday night is that we didn't do it for long enough and from the start of the game, and we got the result of the loss, which is disappointing.
Is surprised we're still talking about glimpses? I think that's been the talk for the last couple of years, and I suppose a sign of a good team is those glimpses of consistent periods of footy. Is surprised that hasn't been more consistent this year?
Yeah, I think probably. I feel like we were almost getting back to where we wanted to be the last couple of weeks, and that's what's disappointing. I think is we say glimpses, but it's more so how we played on Friday night against Essendon isn't that we didn't really necessarily show glimpses. Like, we didn't really play the way we wanted to play at all. And yeah, I mean, it's just super disappointing and frustrating, and we can point fingers and do this and that, but at the end of the day, we didn't get the job done ourselves, and that's and we've got to wear that. So how we got to deal with that is how we're going to deal with it.
How much you talk about wearing it? How much responsibility does the leadership group take, and then on game day, how much falls on it's a pretty big group of shoulders to try and drive those standards?
Yeah, well, I think. We all put our hands up, I think, and want to, play better individually, and then, we've been selected in that group for a reason, and we want to bear that responsibility, and I think we all go home after that game and very, very disappointed and upset and this and that. So, absolutely, the group, it's a young group as well. We've got to lift a few of the boys up. We've got a lot of boys who haven't played much footy, so I think that, when you do have a big kind of discrepancy of players and how much experience they have, it does become more important that the leadership group performs and plays well and leads from the front. And I don't know how many people can put up their hand and say they really did that for the entire time on Friday night.
Confidence is, as a term, is bandied around so much in footy, but when it comes to the small moments and the key moments of its execution, drop marks, missing kicks inside 50, that sort of thing. Do you think subconsciously at the moment that there's something there in the back of the guy's head that, because you're not playing with that dare and that attack that you had maybe last year, certainly not as well anyway?
Yeah, I think people, or I mean, I can only speak for myself, and we put, there's difference with expectations and difference with this and that, and when people aren't necessarily as clear and as it's hard to answer that question, to be honest. I can only speak from personally, and it does seem that we're not performing and not being as daring as what we probably would like to be in those moments. And on the weekend, there was almost everyone who would have a moment where they're not proud of, or me particularly. I wish I was more composed in that last quarter, and had a couple of opportunities set up for goals and didn't execute. So. Again, it's not about pointing fingers, and I think it's on the individual to put their hand up and say I wasn't good enough, and how can we respond from that, and how can we improve, and what can we do from there.
How much does the events of the last couple of seconds of the game and the non-call factor into that disappointment that the group's feeling?
It's a funny thing, I think. I think we can be adults about the situation and say that was probably a free kick. But on the same side, we can't leave it up to one, the umpires to make a decision, and two, that's not why we lost the game at the end of the day. So, as I just said, I'll stick up my hand. I made a few mistakes late in that last quarter where I wasn't composed, and I'm sure there's a few boys that would feel the same way. So yes, it's not ideal that it ended like that, but again, I think we've got to take full responsibility of the situation. We put ourselves in that spot, and I make mistakes. The umpire makes mistakes. It's a game mistakes, our game, I think, and unfortunately, we put ourselves in that position where that was the case at the end of the game. And I don't think about that moment and just say, it could have been different if the umpire made a different call, because at the end of the day, we didn't play good enough on the night, and that's what's disappointing.
So, how'd you see your own game? Just out of curiosity, how'd you see your own performance?
I still want to be better. I still want to improve, and I still want to, be a better leader and out there for the boys. We've got a pretty young backline now as well, and I'm part of the leadership group, and I need to stick up my hand, and I wish I had times where I could have been better, and I had good moments and bad moments like everyone, but I think I still sit here and feel like I wish I could have done a little bit more.
Some of those mistakes have been highlighted of Rash in that final quarters. Is the spotlight on him on a third-year player? Is that fair? Do you think the attention he's getting?
It's probably hard to answer. I think Rash will be the first person to put his hand up at the after the game, and he would say, he probably had a few moments he would like back. But as I said, I think we all do. You can't necessarily point fingers at just one or two moments throughout the game, because one, we were down early, we started really poorly, and these get highlighted obviously because we got to be real about the situation. That's what happened, but I think at the end of the day, everyone has their own moments, and we can highlight what we highlight, but we just probably didn't play well enough as a team, and that's what's really disappointing.
I know those are individual accountability, but in that leadership group that you're in now, when younger players are under the microscope, I guess confidence is flimsy, I guess, when you're a younger player. Would you speak to Rash, or would you speak to a younger player who perhaps has made a mistake?
Absolutely. I think it's always important to speak to people and how they feel. I think the nature of Rash's character is he would be the first person to put his hand up and be really disappointed in say if he's made a mistake or whatever. But I still think it's important to understand the situation and capture how he's feeling as well in those situations. Because on the one hand, yes, he made a few errors, but on the other hand, he's still a human being. He's still like one of our own, and we want to look after our players. And Rash is such a good kid, and he's going to be amazing for our footy club. So I'm always going to wrap my hands around him at the end of the day, arms around him at the end of the day, and be there with him. And that's how we're going to win games of footy all together, and we've got to lose games all together as well.
The club made no secret that finals the goal this year. Do you think now, what are we, 6-7 games, do you think maybe the expectation has got the group in some sense that maybe at times you're trying too hard, which Nixie has mentioned previously?
Yeah, it's definitely been talked about that we've tried a little bit too hard. I think there's that in pieces. I think, yeah, the best teams seem to be able to play their way each week and not go away from of what they want to do, and that's where we've been a little bit. We've only shown glimpses on what we've got to do. I think at the end of the day, how I feel about the situation is I'm definitely not giving up hope. It's not toys out of the cod. It's I'm still really positive. It's disappointing and we've got to live with that. But at the end of the day, we come in today and we're going to work on and we're going to learn. And what's really important is we stick to as a group and we want to improve and we just because we do want to play finals. I don't think it's completely over yet. We've made it really hard for ourselves. But the nature of footy is I think it's a crazy time what we're in right now. Where it's very teams are fluctuating. Teams are it's a very close competition, and there's no reason why we can't get things to click if we keep working, keep sticking together, and still push for that finals goal. I think we're not shying away. Our expectations haven't changed. We just 1 week at a time, and I feel like crazy things have happened. So we're not losing hope, that's for sure.
How's Matty Nix been? Obviously, with Max jumped to his defence last week in his press conference. How's Matty been, especially in the rooms after the loss?
I feel like he's been quite measured. There's definitely times where he needs to have serious conversations and hold the boys to account. I think that's part of his job. And he's very keen to learn and how we feel and where we can improve. And I think what's been really positive is he's done a really good job at outlining that during the week and talking to players and helping us understand where we need to improve and what we need to work on and things like that. So I haven't lost hope, and we definitely have, as a group, haven't lost hope from Nixie, and he's been really good this year. At the moment, things aren't completely clicking. I don't think that's Nixie's doing. I think we've got to take accountability as players and again, just get back on the track and keep working, and things will turn.
That younger midfield mix with Sully spending more time in there and Rankin and even Michelle and Roy Len maybe not playing to his peak. Can you see a world in the coming weeks where maybe he's moved back to half back to give you a bit more of the drive out of that area?
Lady, man. I guess that's why I don't know. To be fair, I guess that's why I'm not up there in the box and I'm out playing. I think.
Do you need a bit of support out of halfback though? I guess like a bit more. Better use.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I feel like that's probably not where we've been losing our games. I don't think is around the half back line. It's I think Laddie himself is like obviously an absolute quality player, especially when he's up and going. He's one of the best players in the competition. So. I'll stick with Laddie, and I think what those boys, as he said, Solly, Rash, Ranks, what they're bringing in there has been absolutely amazing, and some of the like the Solly's year that he's having at the moment, he's brought some form and he's been one of our shining lights. So I think we've got to find the right mix, and Laddie, when he's up and about, he's very hard to stop. So no, I back him in completely, and I don't think we'll be seeing that in the foreseeable future. I'm not sure, but that's my gut feel.